Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to our Fall Colors Nature 101 for the month of October. Fall is certainly in the air, as is the smell of barbecue and a whole bunch of leaves and a chill, so it's the perfect time to talk about this. My name is Paige Engelbrechtson, and I am the Nature Center Education Specialist for the Highlands Biological Foundation. Squirrels are going everywhere today. The foundation supports natural history research and education in the Southern Appalachians, primarily through programs like this one here at the Highlands Biological Station. Now, our Nature 101 series is designed to take a general natural history topic or question and just dip our toes into the subject. The more I started researching about this, the more excited I got, because you can condense it down into 2.5 minute long videos, and there are certainly plenty of those across the internet. But I think there are some really fascinating ways it's connected. So my goal is to give you the background you need to understand how and why leaves change color, and do it in a fun way that you guys are going to enjoy. And actually, I'm going to pull off over here. This is one of our new seating areas, which makes for a lovely rest along the woodland way. And I want to take a look at the two shrubs I have in front of me, because they make a really great place to start thinking about colors and fall color change. Sorry, the red squirrels are having words in the background. But if we're going to talk about fall color change, we really need to ask two questions, which is, one, why do leaves change color to begin with? And then two, how do they do it? What's the mechanism for that? So the first place to start is, what color are leaves normally? And I'll hop over to a demo now that should explain why. All right, folks, welcome to the demonstration station. And while you're here, I'm going to ask you to put on your imagination hats, because this is a leaf. And it's not just any leaf. It's a leaf newly emerged in the spring. It's broken out from its bud. It's reaching for the sky, seeking out the sunlight. And it's probably not going to be this beige color, is it? What color are leaves in early spring? Green, right? And they're green because of pigments. Now, pigments give our clothes color, and they give our paint color, and they give our leaves color. In fact, the green pigment that gives our leaves color is called chlorophyll, and it is necessary for a leaf to make sugars. And the tree wants those sugars from the leaf. So our leaf comes out, and we need it to fill it with chlorophyll so that it can make sugars. In order to do that, the tree has to supply the leaf with water and nutrients. And I just got ahead and dyed this green for the purposes of this exercise. So early spring, the leaf comes out. We need it to make chlorophyll, so we need to give it water and nutrients. And once it's gotten some chlorophyll, it makes sugar, which is fantastic. That is what the tree is going to take back and store in it and use. But you'll notice something's happening to my chlorophyll. It's not staying in the leaf, it's draining out of it, or if we put on our imagination hats, it is breaking down. Chlorophyll is not something you can just make once and be done with. The leaf has to make chlorophyll all summer long, which means the tree has to give it water and nutrients all summer long. So really, leaf comes out in the spring. Tree gives it water and nutrients. It makes chlorophyll. It makes sugar. Water and nutrients. It makes chlorophyll. It makes sugar. And so forth and so on for the whole summer. So that's why leaves are green. I'll turn you back over so you can look at the color changes already happening over on the Woodland Way. So during the spring and summer, this striped maple would have entirely green leaves, quite lush green leaves in fact. But you can already see many of them are changing color. In comparison, let's take a look at this rhododendron that's right next to it. And you'll notice most of the leaves are still that dark green color and don't appear to be changing at all. Now you might think that would be because the rhododendron is changing color later in the season. But honestly, if you take a look around, you'll notice most of our trees have already got going with their color changes if they haven't already gone ahead and lost their leaves. So if the rhododendron was going to change color, it's a little bit late on the uptake. If you've been up here on the plateau in the winter, you will know that rhododendrons actually don't lose their leaves in the winter. And just feeling it, you can get a sense of why that is. It's very thick and leathery and quite tough for a leaf. You would actually have to put effort into damaging it. Now, not a lot because it's still a leaf, but you can imagine that frost might have a hard time damaging it, getting through that thick, waxy cuticle, and snow wouldn't weigh too heavily on it. And sub-freezing or sub-zero temperatures feels like it could probably handle that. In comparison, if you were able to touch this striped maple leaf, like most other leaves, it's fairly delicate. It's very thin. I feel like I could tear it quite easily without much thought at all. And just the idea of a frost hitting this, I can imagine the water in the cells expanding and freezing into ice crystals because this leaf isn't really designed to keep that from happening. So one has leaves that are designed to withstand the kinds of conditions we have in the winter, and the other has leaves that would be damaged, if not killed outright, by a couple of nights of frost, let alone a whole season of them. So trees with the kind of soft leaves that our striped maple is exemplifying theoretically could hold on to their leaves all winter long and then attempt to use them again in the spring, but the odds of the leaves making it through the winter intact without significant damage or without outright dying are virtually nil. The safer route, the cost-benefit analysis, would land on the second option, which is if the leaves are going to be damaged anyway in the winter, why not just pull all your resources out, drop them off, let them go. Sorry, the squirrels are continuing. Drop them off, let them go, and then invest your resources instead into growing a whole new set of leaves that should be unblemished next spring. And that's what our deciduous trees go with. So the question I want to leave you with as we get going down the botanical garden path again is, how do these trees know when it is time to drop their leaves? What environmental cues, I should perhaps say, does a tree rely on to time when it sheds its leaves? It might be tempting to say that the cue trees use is the slide from warm summer temperatures into the colder fall temperatures. But we can have hot Septembers, we can have cold Septembers. I mean, we had a relatively cool summer, all things considered. So temperature is pretty variable year to year. It's not a regular, steady cue that you can use no matter what year, no matter what else is going on, that will be precisely the same every day, to the point that, in fact, we could write it on our calendars as, solstices or equinoxes. And I promise you, I'm not stopping here just for the bad lighting. This is a cue. Trees use the length of the day. As we move from the summer into the fall, dawn comes later in the day and sunset comes earlier. I gotta tell you, it's kind of crushing how early it gets dark now. But that is an important cue for the trees. No matter what year it is, no matter what temperature it is, that change in the length of the day is going to be exactly the same year to year, decade to decade, century to century. So that is ultimately what the trees use as their cue to start preparing to drop their leaves. One of the reasons day length is such an important cue for trees is that it gives them plenty of heads up, so to speak. Plenty of time to do what they need to do to shed leaves, because there's a problem. Leaves are not designed to come off of trees. Leaves stick. I mean, think about hurricanes and thunderstorms and rainfalls and squirrels falling onto them. They stick really well to trees. So if you want to shed one leaf, let alone hundreds of leaves, you need to get creative. What happens is actually really cool. So at the base of the leaf, where it's joined to the tree, a very thin layer of cells is going to grow. It's not going to be the same really sturdy, tough ones that have helped anchor the leaf to the tree for the whole summer. It's going to be a specific layer of very weak cells, ones that kind of go, when they have force put on them. So it's going to grow across the base of the leaf until at some point it covers enough of the base or enough force is applied that the leaf falls off. So it's simple, but you need time to get it done. So how exactly does that play a role in giving us fall colors? Over to me at the demonstration table. So all summer, our leaf has been green because we've been giving it water and nutrients to make chlorophyll, to make sugar. But as the days start to shorten, that's our cue that the leaf is going to fall off soon. And that thin layer of cells is starting to grow across the bottom of the leaf stem. As it does, the tree stops putting resources into the leaf. It's a mechanical action. Those cells are starting to cut off the water and nutrients that are flowing in ordinarily. So we reach a point where, okay, that's it. That's what you got. Work with it. And what happens to the chlorophyll? It breaks down. When the chlorophyll breaks down, what color do you think our leaf is going to be? It's going to be orange or yellow, because there are other pigments in leaves and they have been there the whole time. We just don't see them because they get overwhelmed by how much chlorophyll, how much green is in the leaf. Now, this yellow color is made by a group called flavonoids, and there's also another group of pigments called carotenoids that can make the oranges as well as the yellows. And they're right in the leaf the whole summer. It's only when that chlorophyll breaks down that we see their shiny beauty. So the yellows of that striped maple, the yellows of the birches and the beeches and the tulip poplars all come from pigments that have just been hidden away until it's time to see them. Now you may have noticed there's one more color that's fantastic in fall, and I haven't mentioned yet, that isn't present in the leaf ordinarily. See if you can think about what it is, and I'm gonna throw you back over to the Valentine parking lot to go see one of the most beautiful trees here in our forest. My opinion, but I'm biased. Over there we can see a pale striped maple, but here we have a gloriously red sourwood. So how do we get red leaves in the fall? Back to the demo table. So there only seem to be certain kinds of trees that can turn red in the fall. Oaks, maples, sourwoods, dogwoods. And while I can't quite figure out what the distinction is between those trees and all the other ones that change color, and I always end up with way more questions than I have answers for, I do know what the mechanism is, and it's pretty cool because, once again, we have our leaf. And all summer we've been putting in water and nutrients to get chlorophyll to make sugars. What do you think happens to those sugars as that thin layer of cells grows across the base of the leaf stem and the way in and out for the water and nutrients starts to get cut off? Well, the tree tries to draw as many sugars out as possible, but inevitably, some of them are left behind. And in sourwoods, for example, they undergo a really cool process. They get converted into anthocyanins, which are a kind of pigment that is red. So it's the sugars that have been left behind in the leaf that undergo that conversion process that bring us that brilliant red color. And I tried to figure out why the tree has that mechanism in place, what's the benefit, and I saw everything from it's a kind of sunscreen to it helps protect the leaf from frost damage to it helps the tree draw more nutrients back in out of the leaf to even it adds more nutrients when the leaf falls on the ground and then can feed the tree or any other plants nearby. So why? It's still an ongoing process, but the how is pretty cool. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me for our Nature 101 today. I hope I answered at least some of your questions about the hows and the whys of leaves changing color. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you have any comments, please drop them in as well. Did the demo work for you? I hope it did. Definitely spent a lot of time trying to figure that one out. If you're interested in more of our programming, sign up for our e-blast to get a rundown of what we're doing every week. I'm really excited. This year's Halloween event is going to be a ghostly garden, and we are inviting you all to help us decorate it. So check out our Facebook page for more details if you're curious, or our website. And then join us Halloween weekend in costume for self-guided walks through a haunted botanical garden. If you spot somebody in a Chewbacca costume, that may or may not be me. I can neither confirm nor deny this. We'll have our garden tour on the first Monday of November, and then next month's Nature 101 program as well. I already got a few thoughts on what that will be, so I hope you guys tune in for that. Thank you again and have a wonderful day. If you're here, come check out the Botanical Garden, open dawn to dusk all year round. Be safe, be well, and take care.